Hello everybody, my name is Niall Power Sieger. I produce documentations regarding universal communication, so communication with creatures which have lived as human beings once and which then have lost their human body. So their human body died, but they as creatures, they do still exist. They're still able to communicate with some humans and they're still able to present themselves. Today I'm going to communicate with a creature called Michael, and Michael is able to use the wind. That's why you see over here this little wind tool. So when Michael is canalizing wind to the wind tool, you can see that the wind tool starts to shake in the wind and is getting uplifted by the wind. And we're going to use that method to communicate. Which means if Michael wants to say yes to something or want to agree to something I speak out when I ask him questions, he can canalize and trigger the wind to a higher wind level that the wind tool then get uplifted. Right now the wind tool is down, and Michael, can you lift it up a little bit more? Can you canalize some more wind to the wind tool? Michael will start to canalize more wind to the wind tool now. You can see it's not uplifted right now. And Michael, can you start to do so? He's communicating to me yes. So if you watch the wind tool closely, you will see that more and more wind is reaching the wind tool, and the wind tool starts to get uplifted. So the wind tool starts to stand in the wind. And you can see that he's triggering and canalizing now more and more wind to the area, and he's uplifting the wind tool with it. So that's important to understand the principle of the communication. So in this video, if you want to understand the creature Michael, you have to watch out for the wind tool to understand it. And he's agreeing to that by canalizing more wind to the wind tool right now. And you can see when I spoke it out, he pushed the wind tool with the wind wave. Michael, can you do me a favor and can you present that one more time? And he's doing it now again. You can see it was pushed, so uplifted. So I have two cameras over here. One is filming me from the distance. The other camera over here is filming the wind tool only, not me. And I use that as a microphone as well. So that's why this camera is not filming me, it's just filming the wind tool. And I hope the sound is okay. I hope the camera do capture the sound very well. I'm not sure about that, but I hope you have a good sound later. I'm gonna help a little bit here for 1 second. So I have a little friend over here. It's a joint. I'm gonna start to smoke a joint, and then I'm gonna start to communicate with the creature Michael. And Michael, you think that's okay, right? Because you produce a lot of wind now. And you can see he's uplifting the wind tool a lot with the wind waves. Also, if you watch the plants behind me, if you have a huge screen, if you watch it on a huge television screen or something, then you can also watch out for the plants behind me, because when Michael is canalizing a lot of wind into this area, of course the leaves of the plants of the trees do start to shake as well. So it's not only the wind tool, it's the whole area which is getting influenced with that wind. And Michael, if I communicate with Michael now, Michael, it would be good that between the wind waves, that you make it possible that there's no wind for a moment always, so that the wind tool comes down again. And then if you want to communicate, you can send wind again. And you saw when I spoke it out, the wind tool was going down a bit because there was directly less wind. And Michael is triggering some more wind into the area now to agree to that. Okay? So it's very important, Michael, that in between, it's very important that you organize a situation where in between there's no wind in the area, so that the wind tool is just hanging there without any wind. And then if you want to communicate, want to agree to stuff I speak out, or so, you can lift the wind tool up again with the wind, but then the people can better understand it. Now for the people we're going to demonstrate. Now the wind tool is just hanging there. There is not much wind in the area. And now Michael going to start to canalize more wind to the area in a second. And then the wind tool going to be uplifted again. Michael, can you do that now? He's canalizing more and more wind into the area now, and you can see the wind tool is getting uplifted again. So that's how you can recognize its communication, specific communication. Okay, that was a demonstration for you, the people which are watching the video, so that you have 2-3 demonstrations in that video to understand the principle of the communication, and that you know what you have to watch out for. Because it's not so easy if you're not used to watch videos like that. So I'm gonna light up my joint. By the way, we are doing this video because Michael wants to communicate with his family members. Michael, can you organize the situation again where there's not so much wind in the area, and then I can ask you the question and you can answer them later too. You can see now the wind tool is hanging again. Please, less wind, less wind. You can see the wind tool is hanging now, okay? So Michael, it's true, you want to say hello to your family members, right? And you want to communicate with them in this video, you want to say hi, want to tell them how you are and stuff like that, and that's why we produce this video. If that's right, then please start to canalize more wind into the area now that the wind tool starts to fly in the wind again. And for the people, please watch out. Michael will canalize now more wind into this area, so he will uplift the wind tool again. So Michael, you can start now. And I describe you what I see. More and more wind is reaching this wind tool. It's getting uplifted, but it's getting uplifted in the direction of this camera. So you have to use more wind that the people can see it clearly, or you have to push it in this direction. He's presenting the golden star. Check out the star. I'm pointing with my finger at the star. This wind tool, there's one side have a golden star, the other side have no golden star. The golden star means yes for me, Niall. It's when he communicates with me to solve specific issues, to solve specific questions. So with the one side he can say no, and when he turns the star directly showing the star into my eyes, the golden star on the wind tool, then it means yes. And that was a specific turn of the wind tool, so he said yes. He's turning the wind tool now, and you could see on the other side there's no golden star. Okay, so he's presenting you the other side for this camera over here. Hopefully you can understand that. So you can uplift the wind tool with wind, what he's doing now, and you want to say yes, you want to communicate towards your family with this video and to say hi to them and everything, right? And he's uplifting the wind tool now. He's pushing it with more and more wind for you. You see that? He's using a lot of wind to make that point clear. So he wants to say hello to his family members. And with Michael, the creator, he has lived as a man before, as a human. And a lot of you people which are watching the video have maybe heard of him, because he was a very famous musician. The wind tool is now down again. And Michael, please let it be down, so no wind for a moment, and then I can ask you the question, you can identify yourself better. He's agreeing to that. So I wait a second now, give him the chance that less wind is in the area, so the wind tool is hanging again. Now it's down again, and now he can identify himself. Michael, it's true, you are the creator Michael Jackson, that's right. If that's right, please canalize more and more wind and uplift the wind tool if you want to agree to that. And for the people, please watch out the wind tool now. He's going to use more wind. He's going to uplift the wind tool to agree to that. So Michael, please make that more clear. You want to make that more clear? Yes. Okay, then start to uplift the wind tool again. He's communicating by thoughts with me as well at the same time, so it's very stressful for me to make everything transparent. But he communicated to me I should ask him again regarding his identification. So you are the creator Michael Jackson. the creator who have lived as the man Michael Jackson, and you want to identify yourself as Michael Jackson, and you want to communicate with your family with this video. Are all these things correct? If all these things correct, please use a little bit more wind and uplift the wind tool clearly, so that the people can see that very clearly when they watch the video. I would use a little bit more wind even than that. I would push it. I would let it fly a little bit. Michael is communicating by thoughts with me that he's gonna do that. He's presenting me the golden star to say yes. So now the wind tool is hanging at this moment in time. And Michael, you want to identify yourself as Michael Jackson, so please use more wind and push the wind tool. You can see that more wind is getting used now, and he's pushing the wind tool with wind. The problem is this metal thing where the wind tool is hanging at, it's a little bit hanging in that metal thing at the moment. But he's pushing it with more wind. Michael, I think we should repeat that one more time so that your identification is clear, because that was in the beginning not clear enough. And I would, if I can give you a tip, I would canalize the wind in a way that the wind tool is getting pushed over here into this direction, because then this camera can film it the best way, and hopefully it's not the whole time hanging in the metal thing. So you want to agree, you want to identify yourself as the creator Michael Jackson. That's correct, right? And if that's correct, please use more wind, and please push the wind tool again with more wind. And for the people, please watch out what you're gonna see now. The wind tool is hanging, and Michael wants to agree, so he's gonna start to show the golden star to the camera, which means yes. And he's gonna push now with more and more wind the wind tool, so you see it's flying backwards. The wind is coming from this direction. So Michael, can you shake the wind tool a little bit with wind? So can you canalize the wind in a way that there's more movement? And he's moving the wind tool now. You see that? Okay. So I would say use one more time a lot of wind to make clear that you are Michael Jackson, the creator, so that your family members can understand that, and the people which are watching the videos. And I'm gonna send the video to your sister in the internet, through the internet. Okay. Sorry, but he had some questions he produced in my head. So one more time. Use more wind. He's using more wind, and the wind tool is getting pushed again against this metal thing over here. The problem is, sometimes when he uses the wind, you can see that this wind tool is hanging in the metal thing. So that's why I gave you the tip, Michael, to push the wind tool into this direction, so over here. But I don't know if that's not so easy. It's very specific than what you have to do. He's presenting me the star, which is saying yes, okay? So, for those of you which do not know that, I already produced some documentations with the creator Michael Jackson. And we already produced some videos for his sister, Janet Jackson. And we did it a few years ago. And in the videos, he also used wind, and he used another method as well, but mainly we produced wind videos where he was using wind. And Michael is agreeing to that. So he's pushing the wind tool now more and more, so that you can see that the wind is triggering the tool right now and it's flying in the wind, to agree to the fact that we already produced videos for his sister and his family members. So I lighted up the joint. Let me enjoy the joint for a moment, and let me drink a little bit of cola. So for the people which are watching videos like that the first time, there are a few things I want to say. The first thing is, see, when we start communication like that, maybe the creator I'm communicating with, in that case Michael Jackson, needs a moment to optimize himself in the way how he's canalizing the wind into this area and how to use the wind tool. So in the beginning of the videos, it's often the case when I communicate with creators that the videos are getting better if you watch them a little bit longer. Because in the beginning of the videos, when we start a communication, there can be a misunderstanding. The identification has to be done of the creator so that we know that we are communicating with. And the creator have to practice to use the wind again to communicate with me, depending on the area where I am. Michael, can you agree to that? The wind tool is hanging now, as you can see, so there's no wind. Michael, can you agree to that by canalizing more wind to the wind tool and by uplifting the wind tool again? Michael wants to do that? Yes, the answer I received as a thought in my head is yes, and he starts to uplift the wind tool now with more wind, and you can see that the wind tool starts to shake more, okay? Before it was hanging quiet. Let's repeat that one more time to make it clear. Can you uplift the wind tool one more time? He's saying yes to me again in my thoughts, and now he's gonna canalize more wind. Use a little stronger wind maybe. So he's communicating to me just a second, so he will collect some wind in the area where we are, to say it like that, and then he will canalize the wind to the wind tool. Let me know when you want to start. We can start, okay. So he told me we can start, so now watch the wind tool, watch it closely, because Michael gonna start now to canalize more wind to the wind tool to uplift it. I'm communicating with Michael at the moment in my thoughts, so just give me a moment, because I will have to understand him and I have to ensure that it's Michael and stuff like that. Okay, you're gonna uplift the wind tool. You gonna do it or not? Yes. Yes. Okay, start it. And you can see that a little bit more wind is reaching the wind tool. Please use a little bit more wind than that, so use more wind, just make it stronger so that it's clear. If you use a lot of wind, it's clear. If you don't use a lot of wind, it's not so clear for the people which are watching the video. And he's using more wind. You could see that the wind tool is moving. Where I point my hand at, he's moving the wind. And he's gonna canalize a little bit more wind. Yes, he's presenting the star, so he turned the star a little bit directly into my eye view, so that I had it in my view directly. So then do that. So you can see the wind tool is moving, and he's pushing with wind into the wind tool. He's doing it a little bit more at the moment when I point my hand at it. Hopefully you could see it. So it depends. To outread that communication is a little bit difficult if you're not used to it, especially if just a little bit wind is used like it was the case. So that's why I requested from Michael to use more wind, stronger wind. He's agreeing to that, he's trying that. So he's communicating to me that he's gonna try that to use higher wind levels. And he's pushing the wind tool with wind now to agree to that. See? And now he's pushing it again into this metal structure where the wind tool is hanging on. Okay, because that's easier to see for the people, Michael. If you use more wind, it's easier to see. And there's one thing, if you sit here at this moment in time where the communication is happening, it's much easier to feel the wind, to see the wind. If you watch a video later, the video doesn't transport what you can realize when you would be here at this moment in time. because you can see more and you can feel the wind on your skin and stuff like that. Michael is agreeing to that. Okay? That's why he's pushing now the wind tool. See that? He's pushing it, and the wind tool is hanging in the metal structure because of the wind, which is pushing the wind tool against the metal structure. So I'm gonna ask Michael a few questions, and in between, before I ask a question, I request from Michael that the wind tool is hanging loose, so that there's no wind in the area, and the wind tool is just hanging loose, and then I can ask him questions, he can answer with wind, and then we let the wind tool hang loose again, so that there's no wind in the area, that you always can see the difference. Michael is agreeing to that. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna smoke the joint. I'm gonna wait a short moment, and when the wind tool is hanging loose again, so that no wind is in this area, then I'm gonna ask him the first question. And in my thoughts, I'm gonna communicate the question to him already, and I'm already getting the answer, so that I know how to spell it out, how to communicate with him that we can present it. Okay, the first thing Michael wants to communicate is to his family members and so that he's feeling good at the moment. He's having a good time, no suffering, no pain. Is that what you want to communicate? And he's pushing the wind tool. You can see that. When I spoke it out, the reaction was directly he canalized more wind and pushed the wind tool with the wind into the metal structure. Okay, so the first question is solved. The wind tool is hanging loose again. My next question would be, and I'm sure I know the answer, you would love to be able to communicate with your family members directly in a way that they can communicate with you and understand you, right? Yes, definitely is the answer he did send by thoughts. So he's gonna canalize more wind, please now. If you want to agree to that, then please canalize more wind and push the wind tool again, maybe into the metal structure like you did it before, so with wind. He's presenting the star to the camera, see that? Which means yes. And now he's gonna start to canalize more wind. Please watch out for the wind tool. And I request a little bit more wind. I would use more wind. I can see that the wind tool is already getting pushed a little bit, but I would lift it up and pushing it into the metal structure. And that's what he's doing right now. Watch that, he's doing it right now, okay? So with that, Michael Jackson confirmed that he would love to be in a situation or to see a situation coming up where his family members could have contact with him directly in a way that they understand it and that they can ask questions and that the question can get solved and stuff like that. And during I speak out, he's canalizing the wind strongly so that you understand that's what he would like to see, his wish in a way. So sorry, I'm enjoying still the joint, and I wanted to drink a little bit cola. I'm gonna do that now. It's my first joint in a long time, in a long time. Because I'm not so rich, and I'm often traveling to Ireland this year because I love to see my family members and stuff like that. And because I'm not rich, I don't have money, I have to save money for these journeys and for these trips. So wheat is very seldom in my life in the past months where I traveled so often and where I needed all the money. And Michael is agreeing to that by canalizing a lot of wind. So Michael gonna practice a little bit, and he's canalizing more wind to agree to that. You can see that the wind tool is flying now, it's very uplifted and really flying. He gonna, when I speak stuff out where he wants to agree, he gonna, even if there's wind like this, he can push the tool. See, he's pushing it up again, even in a high wind. So for you, let your eyes get used to watch the wind tool closely. Because even if there's wind like this, he can push it up to say yes. And Michael, please push it up a little bit, one more time to demonstrate that. And he's doing that now. And look closely, and he's pushing it. Now, See, when I spoke it out, he was pushing it directly. But that's a question of optimizing for me to speak it out a split second before he's doing that. So that's what you have to let your body get used to if you watch the videos. Your eyes to listen while I speak out, to watch exactly the moment when I speak it out and when he reacts. Because we're gonna train, Michael gonna train now to canalize the wind a little bit more during the conversation we have. And I'm gonna train you by making all that transparent what you have to watch out for. And Michael is agreeing to that. With more wind. See, he's pushing it up. Pushing it up. Put it to my hand here, on this side. Yes, he did it. So I pointed a level. The wind tool was on that level. I pointed over here with my finger and he pushed it up to my finger. Let's do that again. See? He's pushing it up to my finger level. So that's how specific the communication can be. If the creator is trained, so had some time to practice, to get used to the area where I'm filming, and to practice to be specific with the wind and how to use the wind with the wind tool. And Michael is agreeing to that during I speak that out by pushing the wind tool, and I pointed with my finger there and he even touched my finger with the wind tool. So it's a little bit difficult to make all that transparent, to speak so fast to you, to try to make that everything clear for you that you have a chance as a human. If you never have been in a situation where creatures which are dead already have communicated with you by using wind, it might be a shock for you, or maybe you don't understand it in the first moment. So I'm trying my best, and Michael is trying his best, that you have the chance to understand it. And he's agreeing to that. He wants to agree to that. And I lift my finger up here, Michael, and watch the wind tool. It's going down now. He's presenting the star, and now he's uplifting it. See? To my finger. And here's at my finger with the wind tool. See that? That's how specific it can be. And you have to understand that's natural communication way. So the wind for me is all nature, you know. So I cannot predict nature in a way that I could have known that Michael will push up the wind tool to my finger and will touch my finger with the wind tool, when I would have not communication with him by thoughts also. Because in that way, he can make me understand what he would like to say sometimes, or how he feels, and then I can speak it out and he can agree to stuff. That's important to understand. So this method of communication is a little bit complex, but it's something I can film. So Michael has the chance to produce a video for his family in a way that they can see that. And I repeat my offer from the other video, which I produced with Michael, which is online, that if the family members want that, they can send me questions for Michael. So questions where they think only Michael could solve these questions, would know what to answer. And then I can ask Michael these questions, and we can produce, for example, a video where we solve the questions, and in that way he can identify himself even better. Or you can contact me and just travel to Germany, and then we do a little session over here, and Michael gonna present himself, gonna communicate. He's presenting the star to my eye now, exactly to my eye, and he's uplifting the wind tool. He's making a lot of wind for that, so for the family to understand it, because that's an important point for him. That would be great for him to have that chance, and if you would use the chance. So, if you watch the video, I'll repeat that. You have to watch out for the wind level. Even if there is wind already, watch out for the wind tool. And understand, even if the wind is medium, even if the wind level is already medium, he can push it to a high wind level. And if there's no wind, he can start to canalize wind into this area, to canalize it to the wind tool. And with that, he can agree to stuff. If I ask him questions, or if he wants to say something, to communicate something. When I spoke it out, he turned the golden star into this camera over here. So that's why you later hopefully get a split screen. Okay, Michael, I have a little storage problem with my cell phones, to be honest. So we shouldn't do the video too long. But we can do another video. So we can do 2 parts. It's just because of my storage problem on the cell phone, the camera will stop filming. So when I start a new video, we have storage. It's just, I don't know, there's something wrong with the camera, that's the point. Okay, Michael understood that. So I want to finish this video, and then I'm going to start a new one. We're going to keep communicating with Michael, and I'm going to produce directly the second part, directly after this part. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and please watch the second part to see more communication. Michael, do you want to invite the people to watch the second part to learn more about universal communication? He's communicating to me, yes, and he's canalizing more wind now to the wind tool, and with the wind tool he's touching my finger in a moment. Do that? Didn't work? Try again. He's trying again, touching my finger. See that? Saw that? So watch out for the second part. Thank you very much for watching. You're Niall. Hi, peace everybody. So I'm back. This is the second part with the creator Michael Jackson Universal Communication. Please watch the first part if you not have seen the first part, because that's the introduction, that's where you understand everything. But in short message, the creator Michael Jackson, so the ghost, spirit if you want like that, he can communicate to me by using wind. And for that we have the wind tool over here. And Michael Jackson, the creator, is canalizing wind into these areas. When he wants to agree to stuff I speak out, he can raise the wind level. He can trigger the areas that more and more wind is coming to the wind tool, and then the wind tool do react to the wind. Okay? And Michael Jackson can agree to that by using more wind, and he's presenting the golden star into this camera. Please watch part 1 to understand everything. The wind tool have on one side a golden star to say yes, on the other side there's no star to say no for specific questions. But Michael, can you trigger the wind level one more time for the people to agree to the stuff I spoke out so that they understand all the details? And he wants to agree, and he's pushing the wind level now, and with the wind tool he's nearly touching my hand. Okay? So that's the second part, not the first part of the video. So watch the first part to understand it, to get trained, to get used to that communication method. So creators, ghosts can communicate by using wind, and Michael is agreeing to that by pushing the wind tool with wind. The self-identification of Michael Jackson is also in part 1, and he's agreeing now to the fact that he is the creator Michael Jackson, the creator who have lived as the man and as the musician a lot of people do know. Michael, can you agree to that by canalizing more wind to the wind tool so that you push the wind tool and that the wind tool is getting uplifted? And he's doing that now. If you watch closely the wind tool, he's pushing it up into this direction. Okay? Do that one more time. That would be great for the people to see that, to understand that. I put my hand over here. Can you go with the wind tool into the direction of my hand by canalizing the wind to the wind tool? And for the people, watch out, he's doing that. Hopefully you can see that on the camera over here, where my finger is pointing. So watch the wind tool very closely, and please listen to what I say, because then you understand my communication with Michael Jackson and you can understand the creator Michael Jackson. So we produced this video for his family members. That's important, and Michael Jackson wants to agree to that by sending more wind. Okay, so he did send more wind. He wants to repeat that. So this video is for the family members as well. And now he's pushing the wind tool, and he's uplifting the wind tool in the direction to my hand. Okay? That's what you could see. Okay, I talked with Michael about the fact that he communicated to me that he feels good in the break. We had a little break between part 1 and part 2 of the video, just a few minutes. And I communicated with him, and in the first part he communicated to me that he feels good, that he has a good time. And in the break I communicated with him again, and he communicated again that he's feeling good, he have a good time, he do not feel much pain at the moment, and he had a few good weeks actually. That is what he communicated. That is the information for the family members. So Michael is communicating to you now by using more and more wind, by pushing the wind tool, that he's feeling good and that he had a few good weeks. Not only a moment where he was feeling good, now the past few weeks were good for him. So that's important information, because a lot of people cannot communicate with their loved ones, which are in the situation that they do not have a human body anymore. And then it's very difficult to solve questions like, how do the other feel, you know? So that's why it was important to transfer that information. For me as well, for me, Niall, to help you, Michael. And Michael is happy for that, he's agreeing to that. He's presenting the star. He wants to present the star? Yes. See, he's uplifting the wind tool. In the same time, he did move it a little bit into this direction. Just a little bit like this. Okay? Can you repeat that, Michael? No, he's gonna use more wind, stronger wind. Okay, that's why he did. And now, you want to do that? Yes. There's the golden star. See? So sorry, I'm still smoking the joint, and I still need to drink some cola in between, because it's getting very warm over here. Very hot. It's a good day. It wasn't too hot. 2 days ago it was too hot in Germany, and today is a good day. Michael would love to communicate that he loves his family members, and you can see that he's doing a lot of wind for that now. And we're gonna ask him that again in a second. So you just made a lot of wind for that point. And Michael, you want to communicate that you love your family members, right? They know that. They should not forget it. That's what he communicated to me by thoughts in a nice way. So I'm sure they remember you. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure they think about you during their days. They do sometimes. Often. Okay. Often. That's good. That's good. So I'm happy that I could produce this video with you. I'm happy that we did the part 1 of the video, which was quite long and which was quite good. It was a little bit difficult in the beginning, because when we started the communication, Michael had to optimize himself to canalize the wind, to use the wind to canalize it specific into this area. Oh, and Michael Jackson communicated to me right now by thoughts during I spoke the other stuff out, that he would like to say hello to the fans as well, so to his fans. You see, the wind level is very high for that, and I'm gonna wait that when there's less wind, I'm gonna ask him that again. But if you watch out closely, he's uplifting and he's touching my hand, the wind tool. Touching my hand, see? To agree to that. He's presenting the golden star to the camera over here to say yes, and he's uplifting it again, so that you have the second thing. It's a huge alarm in the background. Yes. Okay, so Michael, create please a situation where the wind tool is hanging for a second, so where it's hanging loose, that there's not so much wind. He's doing it right now, check that out, he's doing it directly. And if you want to say again hi to your fans so that they have a second proof, then please canalize more wind now, and please try to touch my hand or go into the direction of my hand with the wind tool. And he's touching, see? So that's for the fans, a hi from Michael Jackson, the creator, who have lived as a musician. So Michael Jackson wants to communicate that he supports videos where people receiving knowledge regarding the fact that ghosts can communicate and how they can communicate with humans. And he's agreeing to that by uplifting the wind tool. So, as I said in part one, if you learn after a while to watch the wind tool closely and to listen closely to what I speak out when I speak it out, and how the wind tool is reacting to the fact that I speak stuff out. Okay? Touching my hand again? And he did. See? So, some of you maybe do not know that, but in Africa there are some tribes where the tribes put on fires to communicate with ghosts, with spirits actually. And then there's people of these tribes which have learned to outread the dance of the flames when a ghost or a spirit do communicate with them. Which means they put on a fire and they train themselves to outread the wind when it's getting used by such creatures which have lived as humans before, for example, to communicate, and they have learned to outread the dance of the flames. So, like Michael did touch my hand with this wind tool, of course it's possible to put on a fire and to agree that when Michael Jackson wants to say yes to something, that he lets the flame dance in one direction, and if he wants to say no to something, that he lets the flames dance into the other direction. And at the moment, to me, Michael Jackson is also communicating that it's also possible, if you have on a fire, to communicate with the spirit or the ghost, for example, to let the flames grow, that they become bigger, or to communicate with the creature to reduce the fire, so that the flames are not so high anymore, and that they are not so strong dancing in the wind. So there, if you think about the situation sitting in front of a huge fire, there are a lot of things you can agree with this creature to communicate with them. So to have a complex communication, not only a yes or no, also I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, or I would agree but I don't agree, stuff like that, specifics like that can be communicated between each other. And then the ghost can influence the fire depending on what he likes to communicate or how he likes to reply and to answer. And Michael Jackson wants to agree to that, and he's gonna uplift the wind tool now again. Watch the wind tool, please. Michael? Yes, perfect. Saw that? It was hanging in the metal structure before, and then he uplifted it when I requested it, and he did it perfect. So you learned something about African tribes and their fires sometimes. And of course, if you have a plant, like a small plant, for example, in your room, and your plant is standing on the carport or the sideboard at your window, you can open the windows and you can try to communicate with ghosts or creatures if you have contact with them. And some people hear voices in that. So a lot of people actually have the effect that they hear voices in their head. These voices can be ghost spirits, and it can be the case that the same voices which are communicating with you are capable of doing something like we just presented here, like Michael Jackson did present by using the wind, by canalizing the wind, stuff like that. So if you have contact with them anyway, because you have their voices in your head, you can try to communicate with the same creatures to communicate with you, for example, by using wind. And then if you are trained with the creature, with the ghost, and the ghost is trained to use the wind, then it's possible, for example, to go on a walk for 15-20 minutes, and during your walk, there you walk beside trees and plants which are outside, right? If you go for a walk in the forest or something. So you can be in a situation that the creature then communicates with you the whole time by using wind and by influencing the area you walk in, even if it's a huge area, even if you go for a 20-minute walk. So that's very impressive for a living human like me, Niall. And Michael Jackson is agreeing to that. Do you want to agree to that stronger? That it's very impressive if you see it from a human perspective, if creatures goes to trigger and canalize the wind in an area, for example in a walking situation like I just described. Yes, he can agree. You want to agree? Yes. Okay, then start doing that. How you want to do it? By showing the star. And he's turning the wind tool. He's showing the star into the camera over here. The gold star on the wind. Okay. Michael wants to communicate to the fans of Michael Jackson actually that he misses situations where he could be with them and where he was doing concerts and tours like stuff and where he could feel the energy, the positive energy of the people. And he wants to agree to that, what I just spoke out? Yes, yes. So please canalize more wind now so that the people can see it and understand it. And for the people, watch out for the wind tool again. He will start to canalize more and more wind now to the wind tool, and he's doing that. So he's pushing the wind tool with that into the metal structure. I'm sure that the people which were fans of Michael Jackson, like people which have been to his concerts, I'm sure that they also enjoyed it because you made really huge concerts, man. So I'm sure that the people enjoyed that, and I'm sure they have also good memories regarding moments like that. Me, Niall, as a human, I wasn't so often on concerts, to be honest. I just didn't go there often. So I need to drink some cola, sorry for that. I don't know how the sound is. I hope the sound is okay because my microphone is messed up. It's not working very well anymore. So I'm just using my cell phone microphone and I hope that's enough. Normally I had a microphone but my equipment broke. If I would have more equipment and better equipment, it would be much easier and better to produce good documentation. I have a real equipment problem at the moment and I can't afford new equipment. That's my problem. If you want to support me now, just to get new equipment, you can contact me on Facebook. That would help creators which have lived as human beings before and which like to produce data for their family, to send a live signal, a live message. So I produced much less documentations in the past 2 years than before. Like years ago, I did produce a lot of documentations for the website ciembassy.com, and you can find a lot of videos on ciembassy.com, but the most videos are in German. So there are a few videos in English where I communicated with creatures which have lived as humans once and which died, and which are trying to reach out with their videos to their family members so that potentially a family member sees the video and understands the communication and understands that there's contact there, and that the family members have a chance to understand that they can contact me and that I can help to communicate with the ghost, which is their family member. Get that? And if I help people like that, I don't charge them for that. So there's no fee, no cost, nothing. It's for free. So that's just as an information. Also possible, but I said that in the other video, it's also possible to come to live situations, to make an appointment with me, and then we meet up, and if I have contact with the creature, with the ghost, your family member who died, then I'm able to present, they're able to present themselves, and I can explain that in a way that you can understand it, follow, and learn to outread the information by yourself when it's transferred to environment control, like I communicate that. And Michael Jackson is agreeing to that by showing the star to the camera. See that? And before he produced more wind, and he's doing that now again to agree to that. Okay, that you understand that. So if you watch the other videos, It's the same thing as the communication today here with Michael Jackson. It's just in the most videos I use plants, so trees, for example, for the communication. So if you watch the wind tool now in this video, it can be a tree or a plant in another English video. So your eyes have to get used to that as well, to watch them a plant and how the plants do react in the wind when the wind level is triggered and canalized. Yeah, maybe in the one camera, maybe in the background, you can see the plants here behind me. And Michael gonna canalize some more wind to this plant I'm pointing at with my hand, to the crown. Just watch the crown of the plant, the head, the top. Michael, you want to start to do that now? Yes, you're gonna do that. So I'm gonna watch out, and you can watch out on the camera, on that camera. If you watch the crown closely, I just described what I see, okay? I see the wind tool is getting more and more wind and pointing into my direction. So my direction is also the direction of the tree I'm pointing. And when you watch the crown closely, now it's quiet. And now Michael's gonna start to canalize a little bit more wind into the crown. Can you do that? Yes. And see, now the crown is pushed a little bit. But you need very good eyes to watch that. Like you have to watch very closely. With the wind tool it's easy because it's so close to the one camera. If you do the same thing with plants, the same communication method with plants, it's much more difficult to watch. Michael, can you agree to that by pushing up the wind tool one more time, by canalizing more wind into the area? And he's saying yes, so he will do that. He will uplift the wind tool now, and you could see it's uplifted if you watch closely. And now he's canalizing more and more wind to make that clear. So with that, you can communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before, which then died, their spirits, their ghosts. You can communicate with creatures which have lived as animals or as plants before, if their consciousness level after they died is upgraded in a way that they can understand that, remember their life as animals, for example, to identify themselves, and then they can use that for the communication. As I said, these are old methods of communicating with spirits and ghosts. It's nothing new, but you maybe never have heard of it before. So this is old knowledge our ancestors had in the very past, like a long time ago. And as I said, some tribes in Africa still do practice that also. There was a visitor. I saw a guy standing over there just minutes ago. Sometimes Niall, I sometimes get confused when people show up when we do communication like that. And also fact is that sometimes creatures I communicate with are getting like irritated by it for a moment. And Michael is agreeing to that. And that's important for you to understand if you communicate with ghost spirits. Normally it's not a problem, so they keep going communicating, even if other people show up. But it can be a second where me and I get irritated, or the creature I'm communicating with is getting irritated. So just that you know that if you ever communicate in that way with your loved ones, your ancestors, or some spirits, ghosts, which maybe did haunt you. I want to speak a little bit, Niall, I want to speak a little bit about haunted situations. So when people get haunted by ghosts, spirits, or when their body gets possessed, because these are real things. They're really going on planet. And human bodies can be also overtaken, so that the creature who was born as the human sees himself as the human, feels as the human, and have the memory of a human life, gets killed in the human body. Then the body gets overtaken by a creature with the capability, and the creature then can use the body for whatever the creature wants to do with it. And after a while, they can reactivate the creature who has lived as human before, And then you can be in different situations. It can be a situation that you don't realize that your body was overtaken. So because you just did not exist with your consciousness level for that moment where you were dead. And after you get reactivated, you realize maybe that your body is in a different position than it was before, or at a different place, because maybe the other creature walked your body there in the time where you were dead. So that can lead to critical and harmful situations. So if people get haunted, a lot of stuff can happen, because these creatures can be capable of everything a human can imagine. And even the imagination of a human can get built by these creatures if they influence the human body and if they connect it in symbiosis to a biological human body. And Michael Jackson is agreeing to that with wind, and he will also present the star to the camera. He will start to do that. He's agreeing to that with more wind, and he shakes the wind tool. So maybe you can present the star again to the camera. Watch out for the wind tool, and he's shaking the wind tool. With that, he's bringing the star a little bit in the direction of the camera. So he's agreeing to that by triggering, canalizing more wind now. So for people which get haunted, they often, if they have voices in their head or if their body is possessed, they don't really have a chance to get rid of this creature which possesses the body, in cases where the creature is attacking the human. If you are in a situation where you have peaceful communication with Michael, for example, and he's in my body as well and creating the thoughts, he's connected with my body at this moment. Michael Jackson, that's correct, right? And which method? Star. Okay. So Michael Jackson gonna show the star to the camera, and after that he gonna uplift the wind level. Make it more clear. More clear. He's turning the star more and more into the direction of the camera. But can you turn it more? Yes, he can. He was not prepared for that, but he's gonna try that. That was not working very well. But I see here something. Watch closer. This thing is totally messed up because you turned it so often. I'll deal with that. So now you see the star, but that's because the thing was turned again. So that was not so good. That was not clear enough, actually. He's agreeing to that by canalizing more wind. But the wind tool was twisted. That's why I had to turn it around. The line was twisted. The wind tool is hanging on a little line. So okay, Michael, do you have any other stuff you want to communicate? He's communicating to me by thoughts now that he would love to communicate more. But he would love to do a private video later. Not today maybe, but later for his family. So where I send them the link, maybe to one of their websites also, with a little letter, with a little information. But the video can't be seen by the public. Only the people which have the link can see the video. We're gonna finish the video? Yes. But Michael Jackson wants to say bye as well to everybody. So talk to you later, something like that? Yes. Okay. So let me ask you again then. you want to say bye to the fans and see you later, talk to you later, if you want to see more videos, because we're maybe gonna do later another video. Not today, but yes, you want to say yes. So he presented the star to the camera, and now he's gonna canalize more wind to the wind tool, and he's gonna push that wind tool. And as you can see, it's hanging in the metal again, because he's pushing it with the wind in this direction. Now he wants to try to let the wind tool fly. So you're gonna start to canalize more wind and more wind, and you can see it's still a little bit twisted with the metal thing, but he's pushing it with more wind. Okay, then say goodbye. He's gonna say goodbye with a lot of wind now. Michael, touch my piece if you want to say goodbye to the fans. That would be a great ending. He's gonna try to touch my piece thing here with my fingers by uplifting the wind tool. You want to try that? He's showing the star to the camera. He's gonna try that. So here's the piece thing. Yeah, go and start. We have seen it. Piece thing. Please uplift the wind tool to touch the piece thing. Are you trying? You're trying. Am I too far away now? That was not good. He's agreeing to that. Peace thing? So as you see, the communication do not work always perfectly. You were unable to reach my peace sign, right? He's showing the star to the camera, which means yes. And okay, then do you just want to say goodbye by canalizing more wind? Did I get you goodbye clearly? We'll see you later, sorry. We'll see you later. Yes. Okay, I'm saying goodbye too. Thanks for watching this video with me and Michael. And as I said, you can find much more videos like that on YouTube, YouTube and ciembassy.com. Thank you for watching. You're Michael Jackson with the wind tool by canalizing the wind to the wind tool. And thanks for watching from me, Niall Power Sieger. On Facebook, it's Niall Power Sieger. Thanks for watching.